Hello. In one of my recent short videos, a comment was left: boomers shouldn't be allowed access to the internet. I suspect the comment was from a millennial and apologise if I'm wrong. And I replied, a boomer invented the internet. Actually, it was Brit Tim Berners-Lee, and he was working for an American company at the time. Hello friends, I'm Nigel. Welcome to everybody. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell for regular updates. That would be great. Thank you. So when I bought my Tesla in 2021, the first new car I'd ever bought after 50 years of driving, I was accused of being a rich elitist fanboy, which was quite amusing. Whose car is being subsidised by poor people, apparently. Well, it may be in some countries, but in the UK, I paid over 8,000 VAT tax on my Tesla Model 3 and didn't receive one single penny in subsidy. A few years ago, people who voted the same as me in the UK to remain in the EU were branded as being liberal elitists by a former merchant banker who shares my first name, Nigel. He went to a private school and worked as a trader in the City of London, and his hero was Enoch Powell. I went to a state school and my hero at the time was George Orwell. My first 3 years in life I lived in a prefab, which was post-war cheap housing designed for the troops returning home after the war, until my family were upgraded to Lee Park in Havant, which was to become Europe's biggest council estate. Dad was a policeman and they weren't allowed to buy their own homes at the time. I went to a state secondary modern school, failing the 11 plus, not going to a grammar school, and I got 5 CSEs and had many part-time jobs before leaving school at 16, a year after the legal limit. First job I gave Mum half of my wages, £5. It seemed a lot at the time, but Mum was subsidising me. I didn't go to university or take a year out, travelling the world funded by my parents, but started work which was to be for the next 50 years and more. The closest I ever got to a year out as a teenager was a week camping in Le Havre during my 2 weeks annual holiday. I joined the Royal Air Force for 5 years as a volunteer when I was 17, and a year later passed my driving test and heavy goods vehicle driving test and drove lots of vehicles and trucks, including heavy aircraft loading equipment. When I left the RAF, I started work at 5 a.m. every day running a news agency in North London when house prices were going crazy, but I couldn't see at a time when I could afford a home of my own where I lived in Chingford. So I moved to Cornwall before it was fashionable and very expensive, getting up an hour later at 6 p.m. I bought my first home inland, miles from the sea. I could only just afford it as I have saved for 7 years, hardly ever going out. I was married, had 2 sons and didn't have many holidays, but when we did, we often went camping. My eldest son was funded to university, and after 2 years he had no debt as he preferred not to drink much. I do know boomers who spent their money going out frequently when younger and did not buy a property, who are not doing so good now renting a property. It was never easy, and buying a property meant giving up things and not going out, and giving up many of life's luxuries. I can't ever remember going to a restaurant many times for a meal, and a takeaway was often considered a big treat. So I bought a PC second hand and a laptop second hand in the 90s, and all my cars were older used models. I was a rep for a company and had new cars, but they were theirs, they were never my own. This boomer didn't blame his parents for anything. They were amazing people. Dad was in 1st Airborne and parachuted into Arnhem in 1944, aged 24, and was taken prisoner of war for 9 months until the war ended. Mum joined the Rents, although her father, my granddad, objected, as he was a regimental sergeant major in the army who was in Palestine and Syria during World War I in 1919 and in the Home Guard in World War II. Boomers' parents lost much of their youth fighting in World War II, and as a small boy I remember those stories Grandad, Nana and Mum told about the war. Dad, who was in Arnhem, never said a word. He wanted to forget. I have no argument with millennials or anyone whose view on boomers is often wrong. But when I'm told it was easy buying a house in the 70s and 80s because prices were so low, don't forget wages were much lower then also. Some say I'm taking taxes earned by millennials, Gen X and Y, when I've been paying taxes from the age of 16 to 70. That's 54 years, and I continue paying tax, and have also paid national insurance for 49 years. It was never easy buying a property and would have been impossible if I stayed in London, so I had to move somewhere cheaper. I gave up many things to get a mortgage and a home because I knew how important it would be later on in life, and started saving as a teenager for many years before I bought my first home. So my inspiration for this video was someone telling me boomers shouldn't be on the internet, which is outrageous and has to be challenged. I've never heard a boomer blame their parents for their life, but I've heard a lot of millennials blame their parents for how hard done by they are. So if you're a millennial, X, Y, boomer or anyone, please leave a comment below. If I disagree with you, I will tell you why, and I will try and be polite to you. Thank you very much for getting this far. I hope you can like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Drive safely. Don't forget to take your reusable mug wherever you go. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye.